Stay Blooming is an environmental resource and shop aiming to spread awareness on environmental issues while making information easily accessible. And it was founded by an eco-friendly Bronxite with a mission. And joining us now to share a little bit more is Alyssa Perez, founder of Stay Blooming, and good to have you.
Hello, thank you for having me on here.
Good, we're glad to have you.
Yeah.
Keeping us healthy.
I'm trying.
Try it. So give us this, you're a Bronxite, right? And you got some great resources, and you really dug down your heels in trying to improve the community.
Yeah, Stay Blooming started back in February 2017. It initially started as a blog where I just wanted to start the conversation by talking about it myself. I noticed that a lot of the time people weren't allowed to, they didn't feel like they didn't have a voice, and the reason why was because they didn't have an outlet to use their voice, because everyone does have a voice. So what I decided to do was start my blog and just jumpstart it by talking about these things, making the information accessible via my website and using Stay Blooming on social media. So by doing that, I've actually encountered that a lot of people want to learn this information, and it's just a matter of starting and doing it.
You do a good job of raising awareness about eco-consciousness, right?
Yeah.
But for somebody out there that's watching right now, says eco-conscious, that's a big, deep word.
Yeah.
Break it down so somebody understands exactly what we're talking about.
So for the most part, I think it's really hard for an individual to find where they stand in terms of this big globe that we are on. And one thing that brings it all close to home is to find that one thing that means something to someone. So every conversation pretty much looks different when depending on who you talk to. So for someone who is a homeowner, that conversation of being eco-conscious might look different for them. Someone who lives in NYCHA might have you might have a different conversation with them. Someone who lives in like a more suburban area who's right in the city. It really depends on who I'm speaking to, but for the most part, eco-consciousness is just knowing where you as an individual stand with the environment, learning how to be an environmental steward. So that means just like cleaning up after yourself, knowing about your impact, whether you're driving to work, biking to work, or even just like how you get your food, where you buy your food. Is it local? Is it somewhere that's transporting it like by barge or like from a different country or something like that? It really matters.
And so how does that make the difference?
So emissions, carbon emissions. I mean, we all know that climate change is a big thing right now. So it's, like I said, it's really hard to find your space when it comes to that, because we're just in the heart of New York City, and we're just always worried about getting to work, making ends meet, trying to sustain ourselves now and today. But when you're trying to think of like your food and where you get it from, you have to consider how things are traveling. You have to consider who are the laborers. You have to consider how much water consumption goes into the crops that we're eating. And things like that, they're hard to really grasp because you're not doing it. But when you do get involved in like the foodway at Concrete Plant Park, you get to a sense of, well, this is what gardening is like. This is how much labor goes into it. This is how much water a crop like this needs for it to get to me. And when you think of those things, it's better, it makes you a better steward for the environment because you're aware of all these aspects.
You got an amazing event coming up July 7th.
Yes.
This is going to be a Concrete Plant Park cleanup.
Yeah.
And you're organizing a cleanup. So
yes.
What do you want people to know, and how do you want people to take part?
So for the most part, you can find me on I Stay Blooming, and that's where I do a lot of my like activist outreach work. And the cleanup is going to take place it's around Whitlock on the 6th train line. So if you're familiar with the Bronx, the park is right around that area. The park also has a foodway, so we just really want to keep it clean. And we're going to do a thorough sweep of the entire park and just try to pick up anything we see. It's really not a hard work. It's just a matter of getting your hands dirty and being willing to work.
This isn't your first time at the rodeo. You've done this
No,
quite a few times.
Yeah.
What gives you your passion in doing this?
I mean, growing up, my grandfather raised me to have a like strong connection to the environment, to like respect it, and to not only respect it, but to learn how to thrive in it by taking care of it. And I think that that's something that was really ingrained deep in me. And now I'm currently studying for my my BA in environmental studies, and I feel like it's kind of coming full circle because I would like to keep everything I've learned in the Bronx.
So you got this community cleanup July the 7th, and then coming up after that, what else you got coming around?
I really want to just keep doing these cleanups, to be honest. I think the more people who get involved and do the volunteer work, it really just plants seeds of, do I want to litter? Do I want to keep taking care of my environment? Do I want to keep volunteering? Do I want to do more work? And I think that planting of the seed to provide a future thought is really what I want to do.
So, about connecting with people, right? I think you're working very hard to connect with people.
Yes.
Are you finding that people are becoming more and more connected?
I think so, yeah. I get so many messages about, like, just from people being grateful that I decided to repost something, to share some insight that I have. And I think that when people see something, like I said, that connects to them or they just find interesting right on the spot, they're just like, this is my world, this is where I live, and this is what I need to be paying a little bit more attention to.
Also, you have a shop with some eco-friendly goods.
Yeah, I don't like to pay too much attention to it because
Why?
I mean, it's lovely to be a small business, but it's not the heart of what I'm doing. I think I just would like to provide those alternatives for people. So for the most part, I sell things like alternatives like bamboo toothbrushes or bamboo cutlery. I have a host of different types of cotton bags. And the reason why I do it is just so that people have that access to it. And also they're all at low price points because that accessibility of information really matters to me just as much as the product.
Yeah, and we talked about accessibility of information. A lot of people don't have this information.
No.
A lot of people aren't aware. What do you think it's going to take in order to turn the corner so more people are aware? I mean, we talk about climate change, we talk about all these great things that are, well, not great, but you talk about all these challenges that are happening, and there's some great work that's actually going into it. But you still find that, like in the borough of the Bronx, there's still a lot of people who are on their hustle, their grind, and they just don't know. So what do we do to get them in there?
It's just a matter of finding what matters to that person. I think it's really hard to see yourself and where all of us fit in. Like sometimes I think like, what am I doing this work? It's so much. But at the end of the day, when you're able to just do a little bit, I really truly believe every bit counts. So if you're not able to do everything, it matters when you just do what you can.
Well, you're doing a great job. You're doing what you can.
Thank you so
and
much.
You're
I appreciate
helping
that.
our borough in a major way. I want to make sure that I get people to out there on July 7th, so I'm going to tell them right now what to do.
Sure.
All righty. Well, Alyssa will be hosting a Stay Blooming cleanup of Concrete Plant Park on Sunday, July 7th from 11 to 2. Now, this is the part. You can join in. That's Concrete Plant Park, Bronx, New York, 10472. So make sure you get connected with her and stay connected to Blooming online by visiting stayblooming.com. Then you can follow them on Instagram at iStayBlooming. All right, talk to you later. We'll be right back right after this with more Open.